Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the class. I hope you people are doing well, and I hope you people are preparing well for your coming examinations. And more than that, you need to take care about your health. Please be have a vigilance towards your health. Please take care about your health in this situation. Do not go outside. Make use of a mask. You will have many benefits from the mask, is it not? It can avoid the dust allergy and make use of a sanitizer with you. Carry the sanitizer with you always. Apply it to your hand. Wash your hand frequently. Is not this all required to be away from all these diseases? And I hope you people are prepared your own timetable and you are going along with that. Means you are following the timetable what you prepared. I hope that if it is so, it will be very good and appreciable. Next, we'll come back to our class. In the last class, last 2-3 classes, we started to discuss about the second chapter of the history. It's about the nationalism in the India. Here we have three main concept topics. You may call it the topics. We have three main topics. In under that, you will be having a sub concept. So the three main concepts like a First World War, Khilafat, and non-cooperation movement. First World War and Khilafat and non-cooperation movement. So for the beginning of the non-cooperation movement and Khilafat movement, it caused and it got base from the First World War. Because of the First World War, so all this movement has begun, is it not? So not only the First World War, there was so many other problems which is led for having movement in India, is not? So along with this First World War, we know the economic crisis and the political crisis or political instability and the economic crisis. So these are all the factors that led to have a movement in India. So these movements are the First World War. So this First World War got ended in 1918. So that led to have a economic depression and the political instability in India. So then afterwards, the people were suffering under the rules of Britishers, what they have imposed under the British Government Act. So to avoid all these things, to get a freedom from all these things, and to reduce the taxes of peasants who are working in the Champaran, the Gandhi has returned back to India from South Africa from in 1915, January 1915. So from there, he has conducted many satyagrahas. According to the Gandhi, the ideology of a satyagraha is different, is it not? So the satyagraha is the movement of truth. Satyagraha is according to him what he has told that we have to make them to pursue, we have to make them to understand the truth instead of forcing them to understand the truth. So that's what the Gandhi told, and he told going in a peace and the non-violence way, taking the peace and non-violence way for making them to understand the truth is the best way, and that represents our kindness of Indians, that represent the kindness of Indians. So that's what he told. From there, he has conducted 3 satyagrahas which took massive success there in the Champaran, Bihar 1917, and the next year he conducted the 2 satyagrahas in favor of these taxpayers and the mill workers. So that was year, is not? We are discussing about that. Then afterwards we discuss about the Rowlatt Act which is imposed in 1999, means 1990, sorry, in the 1919. So from there, 13 April 1919, so it has the massacre called as Jallianwala Bagh massacre which has took place in 13 April 1999. From there, many people got informations about this. Then they have rose their voice and hand against of British officials and the British buildings which was constructed by the British government. So all these been attacked, and they have started to make the movement. So then there, at the same time, the First World War was completed. It got end by defeating the Ottoman Turkey, is not, by defeating the Ottoman Empire. So Ottoman Empire was ruled by Khalifa. So there he has defeated. So to support the Khalifa, the Muslim, the Indian Muslims, we have conducted means we have created our own associations called as a Khilafat movement. So by creating a Khilafat committee, so the Muslims, they have started Khilafat movement. So there Gandhi has thought, so if he joined the hands of a cooperation movement, non-cooperation movement, people and the Khilafat movement people, it will become a great movement against of a British government. So that's the reason he has took a Congress, means he has took a meeting in the session, Nagpur session in the December 1920. There they have decided to launch the non-cooperation movement, or with the name of a Swaraj, in demanding a Swaraj. So there, but they got a different stance from the different places. Means they have supported many people in the town like Awadh. They have supported, means for there they had a different problem from the British government. So in order to that, to avoid and also to be away from that problems, they have conducted the movement. So that movement has supported for all the national movement. It is also considered as a national movement, is it not? So all the people in different part of a country, they have supported. That means they have to clear the burdens, to satisfy their demands, they have raised their voice, they have joined into the movement. But that movement has led a national movement. So that's what we discussed about the people in a tribal area, Awadh, and the cities, and the Andhra Pradesh hill called as Gudem hill. So there also they have many people, they have joined their hand for having a movement. Then the another one plantation movement which has started in the Bengal, and which they took place in the Bengal. So in their own way, means they had a different problem to overcome from that problem. They did this movement. So this movement gathered together and it is formed a national movement against the British rule. So that led have a civil disobedience. Then afterwards, the Gandhi has called of non-cooperation movement, because he thought the non-cooperation movement is going on different way. It's taking a violence way. It's a problem. It's get because of this non-cooperation movement. Even the Indians and the Britishers, they are getting a problem. So it's not a way. So that the Gandhi has stopped the movement. Then afterwards, he put a stone for beginning of a civil disobedience. And we have discussed about the parties which they have created, and the demand which made by the Jawaharlal Nehru and the Subhash Chandra Bose. About that we discussed. Then afterwards, here he has begun. Means this was a problems which is created, means which was causes for setting back the Indian politics into the 1920. Towards 1920. Then Salt March has begun. Is what the Gandhi has wrote a letter to the Viceroy Irwin. So then after in the 12th March it has begun the Salt March. We know the 240 miles they have walked for the 24 days. For a day they had walked for the under 10 miles, is not. So on 6th April they reached Dandi, and the Gandhi has taken the fist of salt, and he has started the disobedience movement, civil disobedience movements. From there, many people they got information about that, and they have started to have a support for the civil disobedience by boycotting the foreign goods and destroying the British buildings. Is not by picketting the liquor shops, by everything. So they have did. So here the Irwin in the next month, in 5th March 1930, Irwin has signed a treaty in accepting the demand of Gandhi. So in result of that, Gandhi has allowed to attend the second roundtable conference in 1931, but he has returned back in the 1934 with a disappointment, because he was not allowed to speak anything there. He was not allowed to take a decision in regarding the Indian constitution. So that was the disappointment which he has faced there. Then this civil disobedience got again when I came back in 1931. The many people, they were initially at the starting they are supported for this civil disobedience. Then the supporters, they have taken their hand back, means the support and the strength of a civil disobedience, it is gone back, it is reduced. We all discuss about the reasons for all these things, is not. So then afterwards, the many movements has been taken place, and the Indian the group or Indian councils got emerged, and the strength in India has got emerged. It has appeared. The nationalism has got appeared in the every common people of India, so that they have joined the hand to conduct a movement. So that led to have getting an independence. All these things, Deepo. If you are going to discuss about the Indian independence, it's all having many informations. So brief, you will be discussing whatever the concepts are being given in the 10th class. That's only you will be discussing, is it not? Now the sense of a collective belongings, it's the last concept what you are discussing. It's the sense of a collective belonging. The sense of a collective belonging is the same the concept what we discussed in the first chapter. It's about what you call it is the same sense of collective belonging in the European people, is not creating the nationalism in the European people. For creating the nationalism in the European people, what the artisans and the writers and the poet writers, it may be story writers, it may be, and what other people they have did, what they have did to inculcate the nationalism in every common people of a Europe, what they did. So they have did the law patria, lay citizen, they have created their own national flag, is not, they have chosen French as the one language, nation language, is not, and then they have created their own custom duties, union, they have formed their own union duties, is not. So many things they have brought up with for creating the nationalism feeling in every people of the European continent, is not. Same like that in India, the many people they have supported, is not. So then afterwards the nationalism, after this all the movement, so this all the nationalism and idea of this nationalism got distributed, populated and spread across the Indian subcontinent. Then all the people that got information about this and they have joined their hands, is not, before getting the independence. So this is what we are discussing about before getting the independence here. So that's what about the Khilafat movement, non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement. It has took before the independence. So here, so we got independence after unification of everybody as one nation, is not. So now we are discussing how the people got unified, how people they have got information of nationalism, how the people they have influenced, how they have created their sense towards getting oneness, towards getting the freedom, the republic, how these ideas brought up in among every individuals. That's what we will be discussing now, the sense of collective belongings. So here the sense of collective belongings came partly through the experience of united struggles, is not. Through the experience of struggles, many people, the many group of people they have led a struggle, is not, means they have made a movement, they were struggling and they have the struggle is nothing but strike movement, many other war, is not, same like that. So many group of people in India, across India, they have conducted a movement, they have joined their hand for conducting a movement, they have did a strike, they have gone for the rally, is not. So this all the news got spread because in this time in the 20th century the print media got what you call popularized in India. The print media got popularized after industries had been introduced in India. The print media got spread, means it's got introduced in India. So the use of a print media is abundant now. So because of this print media and the technologies which is introduced in India, so that is a reason for the spreading this all the information about nationalism and the revolution and the movement is not, because of that is all the information has got spread. So that's how the collectiveness collectiveness is created in among the Indians. The history and fiction, folklore and songs, popular prints and the symbols all played a part in the making. So same like the European what they have did, same ideology has been used here. Same, it's, if you are not copying it, it's not like a copying, it's the same process which we need to follow for everywhere. Even if it is in many other countries, they have followed the same ideologies, they followed the same process, because they need to follow the same process, because they are have that kind of a people in that countries, in like in our countries, you know. Same in the European countries, the most of the people are uneducated, most of the people are settled in the villages, they didn't know about the writing and reading about the particular languages, is not, they didn't have a knowledge, they knew only about the folk songs, folk dance, like about the skit, play. So they knew only this about, is not. So same like the India, the most of now also most of the people, most percent of people, they're staying in the villages. On that time before getting independence, on that time most of number of people population was the village population, means they have settled in the villages. So the literacy rate was very low on that time. The literacy rate was very low. So that reason most of the people, they didn't know the languages except their one language, means what they were speaking. Even they didn't know about to write what they are speaking. They didn't know about the language, about alphabet, about writing or reading. Only they knew about the speaking, same like what we have in many of the villages, is not. So there the poets, writers, and the philosophers, they have what they have thought to create a nationalism feeling in among the Indians. Going in their own way, it's a way, it's one of the main way. Going in their own way, going in their own path, it's one of the main way to make them to understand the nationalism. So that's the reason they have made use of this folklore, means like a folk songs. They have used the folk songs, folk painting, folk dance, and what you call the fictions like the play. They conducted the play, the skit, they formed the skit, they performed the skit about this nationalism, creating a nationalism. So these all the things got help, means it's all the things got contributed in creating a nationalism among the people. The identity of Indian came to be usually associated with the image of Bharat Mata. So the first, we know the Indians, we are like traditionally hangover people, and we believe in the God, the Indians, and we worship a God a lot. We believe about about the things which is prevailed from the ancient period, is not. Whatever the things are being coming from the ancient period, are being practiced from the ancient period, it's been followed by the every Indian people, is not. And that time it was more. Most of the people, they were followed the things which is already, which was been followed, it's been following, is not. So that's what the people, they were mainly addicted into the folk songs, folk dance, and then many things which is belong to the folk, because their duty, their activity, and their interest was lying on that. So that's the reason, by creating the painting of Bharat Mata in the way where the village people look, is not. So in the way which the village people can understand, the very people can understand, in that own way they painted the Bharat Mata picture. The image was first created by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. So he is a person, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, who painted the Bharat Mata. So here he has painted Bharat Mata like this. Most of our Indian women, same like here, I have noticed in a European continent, to personify means to make understand about their nation, to make them understand about the republic, to inculcate the nationalism in among every citizen. They made use of female allegory, is not. They made use of female allegory. They made a personification. An woman having a oak thrown in a leaf thrown in her head, and holding the carter in the right hand, holding the fire on the left hand. That all shows some ideology. Same like that in India, the Indian artists, they have used a painting which depicts the Bharat Mata, and that depicts, and through that they have tried to say about what is Bharat Mata and how she looks, and like what are the areas belong to her and what we have to do for her, is not. So that's what they have been told. So this picture that shows, in this picture Bharat Mata, she is looking very calm, is not. She is very calm, cool, she is having own spirit, and like that shows a peace, is not. That was then the 1817, he wrote the Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay in 1870s. He wrote Vande Mataram as a hymns of motherland. He wrote a Vande Mataram. Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay is written by the Miss Vande Mataram is written by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. Sorry. The later it was included in his novel Anand Mat and widely sung during the Swadeshi movement in the Bengal. So then this Vande Mataram, what he has created as a hymn of a motherland. So this is included in his novel, the collection of these what you call the songs or the poets. It's been included in the Anand Mat book, which is written by this Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. So there, so in the when Bengal they were leading Swadeshi movement, the Swaraj in the Swadeshi movement. So there they have sung this Vande Mataram as a what you call image or as a what you call their strength, to show their strength and to show their Swadeshi, means to show their own land, love towards their own land. So they have sung this Vande Mataram in Swadeshi movement in Bengal. In this painting, Bharat Mata is portrayed as ascetic figure. She is calm, composed, divine and spiritual. Here she is calm, composed, divine and spiritual. So like she is a goddess. She is a goddess and she is very cool and calm and she is composed and she is has her own spiritual. That painting that shows the spirituality in that. So that's what, by painting this all the kind of things, they try to inculcate the nationalism in everybody. In late 19th century in India, the nationalists began recording the folk tales sung by bards and they toured villages to gather folk songs and legends. So here in the late 19th century, in the 1850 afterwards, 1850 after the 1850, the many people of India, like the people who are collecting, the many people they have started to collect the different types of folks which was sung by the different language peoples in the different areas, so that they can create the folk in their own languages, in their own style, to make them understand. So that was the main reason, and they have started to collect the information of a legend of that particular area. Suppose in Karnataka, if you have legends like if you say the Vishweshwara, you will be having our own proud. Is not prideness will be there, proud. So Vishweshwara is belong to Karnataka. So you will, if you make any advertisement and the name of Vishweshwara, then you will tend to buy that product. Is not. If something is saying, somebody is saying the name of Vishweshwara, then you will be having some proudness. Is not. Same like that. Suppose in a cinema, somebody is saying about like about Vishnuvardhan, about suppose Rajkumar, something will be having feeling proud in among us. Same like that, the many people they have started to collect the names of legends of particular places, so that if they create the nationalism in the name of, or if they make them to, you make use of the legend to explain about the nationalism to their people, they people understand better, is it not? Suppose here like in Mysore, suppose Chamarajendra Wadiyar was a king, is not Chamarajendra Wadiyar. So most of the people they adore, they follow the things which is follow the decision which is taken by the Chamarajendra Wadiyar, is not. Suppose the people of Maharashtra, so one popular person of Maharashtra, suppose he came to Mysore. Suppose he's saying something for the Mysore people to follow these things, follow that things. Will they follow? No. When they will follow? If the Chamarajendra Wadiyar, suppose he is saying something about to the Mysore people to follow, they will follow definitely, because they adore him. They follow his word because he is a legend. Suppose like that. So same, the people in that time in the late 19th century, they have started to take the names of legends. If they are alive, they have made use of them. If they don't alive, so then they have in the name of that legend, they have started to spread the nationalism in among every common people. That was the process they have took there. In Bengal, Rabindranath Tagore himself began collective ballads. In the Bengal, the Rabindranath Tagore is the Rabindranath Tagore, the poet, and he is from Bengal. So here in the Bengal, the Rabindranath Tagore, he has started to collect the ballads. Then the story about that, it may be story and the different types of a poet. He has started to collect the ballads and he started to Miss Ballard's different types of languages. He started to collect all those languages, and he started to write in that languages and to distribute the nationalism, to make them to understand nationalism. So this was a contribution which is made by the Rabindranath Tagore in the North India, and at the same time the South India in the Madras. Natesa Sastri published a massive 4-volume collection of Tamil folk styles, the folklore of southern India. So name which is given in under the 4-volume, the book which consists of 4 volumes, it's about the folklore of South India. It's the name of book, folklore of southern India. It is written by or collected by the Natesa Sastri. So it's the contribution of Natesa Sastri in distributing or in making understand the nationalism in the southern part of India. During the Swadeshi movement in Bengal, the 3-color flag was designed. The 3-color flag was like this: red, green and yellow. So in this 3-color flag, it was consist of 8. It was drawn with the 8 lotus representing 8 provinces of Britishes in India, and a crescent moon representing a Hindu and Muslim. So during the Swadeshi movement, so they have designed the flag of a 3-color, like the green, yellow and red, and it is consisting of 8 lotus and crescent moon, and this represents the Hindu and the Muslims is unity, and about this all the provinces. So that's about. Then by 1921, Gandhi had designed the Swaraj flag. It was again a tricolor, consists of red, green and white, and had a spinning wheel in the center representing the Gandhian ideal of self-help. So this is again designed by Gandhi of tricolor flag, white, green and red. It's about charaka, you know about that, is spinning wheel, charaka, spinning wheel. So here this flag has been used further as an ideal for the self-help, for the self-confidence. For that, this flag has been used for many movements after this, after 1920, after 1925, and this after 1921. This flag has been used for many other, for conducting or leading many movements in India. So that's about we discuss about this chapter. And earlier in the beginning of this class I told you'll be having a 4th chapter for your means in the history. You'll be having a 4th chapter for this year. 2 chapter already be completed. One is the rise of nationalism in Europe, another one is nationalism in India, what we completed now, and there are 2 more chapters. In among these 4, only 2 chapters will be considered, and you'll be getting questions in board examinations, chapter 1 and chapter 2, what we discussed now. And we have 2 more chapters. In among these 2 chapters, we need to choose, we need to select any one of this chapter. So we have to discuss about any one of this chapter. Suppose this one I selected, we selected. So this about this chapter we will discuss, and we have to write exam on this chapter, means the preparatory, not a board exams. You have to write means you need to attend for the questions which is given from this chapter in only preparatory, not annual exam, means board exam. Only you will get questions based on these 2. Rise of nationalism in Europe and nationalism in India. Only these 2 chapters will be considered for your board examinations. About remaining 1 chapters, we will go in the next classes. We will discuss about that. I hope you understood about this concept what we discussed in this class, and I hope you understood the whole chapters. Make use of your textbook, and I hope you all having the reference book with you. Get different questions. The questions will be in a different, it will be complicated to understand, but the answer will be same. Most of the questions will be having most of the questions will be having of one answer, but understanding the question plays an important role. If you don't understand the question properly, you will not be able to answer for that. So that reason, try to understand the question. Not try to, you should understand the question. So that what you have to do, you have to refer many reference books and you will get it in a internet. So if you go there in internet, you will get a previous question papers, refer the previous question papers. So then you will get one idea. So how maybe the questions will be asked for your examinations. Then afterwards in the next class you will go for the map discussion. After the map discussion, we will go for the remaining one chapter in the history, that's which is considered for your preparatory examinations. We will discuss about that remaining one chapter in the history. Till now what we discussed, I hope you people understood and complete your exercise first. Complete that, right? And read. So whatever the chapters we completed, the first chapter in the geography, you have to look back again. Daily you have to look into everything. So there is no need of reading, just look into that. It's enough. So prepare well. Thank you. Have a nice day.